Let's get into it. Episode 709. Some quick things here. This is what you're going to see in this clip. Joe Rogan asks Elon Musk what it's like to own Twitter. Then Elon starts talking about the headquarters and where it's located, which is California. Then he starts talking about the ideology of the people who run California. Then he starts talking about how anti-human it all is. Then he starts talking about the the voluntary extinction movement. It's a very interesting clip. We're going to address it all. Just want to let you know also there's 3 minutes of ads by Joe Rogan in this clip. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch back to this camera angle. I'm going to skip through all that and we're going to get right back to it. And other than that, let's start the show. Good to have you guys here. Let's get into it.
What has it been like? You've owned X for a year now.
Oh yeah.
Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night and have a dream that you didn't do it? And your life is infinitely easier?
Well, it's certainly a recipe for trouble, I suppose, or contention.
What was it ultimately that led you to make the decision to do it?
I mean, this is going to sound somewhat melodramatic, but I was worried about that it was having a corrosive effect on civilization. That it was just having a bad impact. And I think part of it is that it's where it was located, which is downtown San Francisco. And while I think San Francisco is a beautiful city, and we should really fight hard to kind of right the ship of San Francisco. If you've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the FK Twitter headquarters, it's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, it's rough. Have you been in that area?
Not lately. No. Yeah. I've heard.
It's crazy.
I've heard it's crazy. I've heard you really can't believe it until you actually go there.
You can't believe it until you go there. So now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth. So, a philosophy that would be ordinarily quite niche and geographically constrained, so that the fallout area would be limited, was effectively given an information weapon, information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
And it's not just propagating the mind virus, but suppressing any opposing viewpoints.
Yes. Well, in order for the virus to propagate, it must suppress opposing viewpoints. So,
because it doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, you've felt the virus.
Yeah.
Yeah. People will try to cancel you so many times.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
I don't think you're melodramatic at all. I think it's a. I mean, I don't want to be melodramatic, but it's almost like a death cult.
It's a death cult. No, that is exactly right. It's essentially the extinctionists. Like, it's in the limit. It is that they're propagating the extinction of humanity and civilization. And there's some people who are like most of the time it's implicit. They don't but sometimes it's explicit. Like there was a guy on the front page of the New York Times who literally has the thing called the extinctionist movement, and he was quoted on the front page of the New York Times as saying, "There are 8 billion people in the world, but it would be better if there were none." Ooh. And I'm like, well, buddy, you can start with yourself.
Yeah. Does he have friends? That's what always fascinates me.
Well,
here he is.
That guy.
He looks like he's not long for this earth.
I mean, he's
Voluntary human extinction movement. That's hilarious. I'd like to party with that dude. Okay. I would just like to
That's an explicit version of the death cult.
Yeah, maybe live long cult. And die out.
It's not. Extinction is a word he uses.
Yes.
No, I mean, it's not. It's literally a self-description.
Did they cover him glowingly?
Cult was in charge of social media.
Yeah.
And still largely is at Google and Facebook, by the way.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm not in favor of human extinction. They are, and they can go to hell.
Well, that guy is.
Yeah, he can go to hell.
That guy seems silly. I would like to hang out with him, though. I would like to find out what makes him tick. I bet that guy is fascinating. This episode is brought to you by DraftKings, where code Rogan.
Roll right through this, ladies and gentlemen.
Slam. You post
let's get right on through it here.
Hell.
We almost
that's
done.
ZipRecruiter.com/Rogan. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/ROGAN. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Well,
if you get them alone for a few days.
I'm in favor of. I'm pro-environment, but the in the limit, if you take environmentalism to an extreme, you start to view humanity as a plague on the surface of the earth, like a mold or something.
Right.
But this is actually false. The Earth could take probably 10 times the current civilization. The population you could 10x the population without destroying the rainforest. So the environmental movement, and I'm an environmentalist, has gone too far. They've gone way too far. If you start thinking that humans are bad, then the natural conclusion is humans should die out. Now, I'm headed to an international sort of AI safety conference later tonight, leaving in about 3 hours. I meet with the British Prime Minister, a number of other people. So you have to say, like, how could AI go wrong? Well, if AI gets programmed by the extinctionists, its utility function will be the extinction of humanity.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, particularly if
they won't even think it's bad, like that guy.
Right. Yeah.
100%. I just made it. If you follow the channel, you know I just made an episode about this. In regards to Neuralink, oddly enough, because this is Elon Musk talking, so I do agree with him in terms of this, in terms of the programming. Program people to procreate less. Very easy. Program people to have less of a sex drive. Less of a libido. That's it. It's wild what could happen. Now, just quickly, that gentleman that they put on the screen that was talking about it would be better if there was no people in the world, that gentleman's name's actually Les Knight. The wife and I are actually going to do an episode on that gentleman, so it's so funny that Elon Musk actually brought him up. He has something called, as you know, the voluntary extinction movement. So what they actually believe is they should live, and they should live well, but they should have no kids. And when they pass away, that should be it. If they already have kids, they're of the belief and, of the wanting that their kids choose not to have kids and they die out. They think people should live long and die out. That is their motto, literally. It's wild. Now, when he said Twitter being corrosive to the world, I don't know how much he's actually fixed that. I got to be honest. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to say it's hateful or it's violent or anything like that because it's just words, it's just images. I won't say that, but I haven't seen it change much. I've only seen it change in the sense of you're allowed to say more on there now, which is great. But you could still argue it's corrosive to society a little bit. But at the same time, it's also great for news. Like if you're not on there and you want to get news really quickly, it's a tremendous help. It's a tremendous help. So, and you get to see things in real time-ish, but at the same time, you get to even see propaganda in real time and things that aren't true in real time. So it's a little hard. It's a little hard. But it's amazing that he recognizes. Here's the thing, though. He's calling them extinctionists or extinction. Is that the right word? The people who think that, people should be extinct. He's talking about California. You see the same thing in Philadelphia and Baltimore and Chicago. I wouldn't say the extinctionists run these states. Maybe you're not with me on that. I wouldn't say it's the extinctionists that are running things there. I think we all know who's running things there. If you don't know, look it up. I don't know. So the philosophy that he's talking about, I understand how it's anti-human, but it's also, it's a little left-leaning. It's a little left-leaning. And it's I won't even say it's a little left-leaning. It's far left, something that regular, quote unquote, regular left people wouldn't even identify with. So it makes sense what he's saying, but he's not willing to actually tackle it, probably because he's Elon Musk and he doesn't want to get seen as someone who is a Republican. You know, he doesn't want to get seen as a far right extremist, espousing all sorts of wildness about the other side. So I understand that, but you can kind of tell who he's talking about when he's saying this. And it's so true. Said it perfectly. Zombie land. It is a zombie land. It really is a zombie land. It's wild. And it's not just people laid out. It's people standing up. Like, I don't know if you know, like when you take certain things, you'll be out of it and you'll still be standing. Literally like a zombie. You'll be like bent over and contorted in all sorts of ways. And there's so much of it. You know, there's so much of it. And then, I mean, he didn't even go into the looting and everything that happens there. It's getting out of control in those places. But I will say, you know, maybe it's the non-extinctionists that seem to be in the red states quite a bit. They're not seeing those same problems. They're seeing their problems. You know, Texas has a large homeless population that they've been working on, especially in Austin. They've been working on it really well, and they've been doing really well. Every state's going to have their problems, but the ones that you see that are out of control, they're ran by the extinctionists. Very interesting that Elon Musk understands that so well. So many people that are in high up places, super high up places like he is, are not willing to actually say that. You know, they're not willing to actually take it to that extent where they're calling out what they're seeing. But I guess it's unavoidable when your headquarters is there and he's surrounded by it, you know. But then it also makes me wonder, how are all those people who live in those places? You know, I mean, people who run those places, how are they not seeing it? How are they not understanding what's going on? Elon Musk is going here and there. He's barely even at the headquarters. But even he understands how bad it is. I don't know. Very interesting that he took the anti-human approach. I love that he's about that. The episode my wife and I are doing, we're going to be talking about that exact same thing, because it's odd to see these people who really do, you know, back in the day, you always had those people who were like, I'd stop for a dog before I'd stop for a person. And I'm like, okay, could be, you know, could be the start of a horror movie. You don't want to exactly just pick up a person on the side of the street. Understood. But that ideology has gotten so far gone to where now people are viruses, and you know, we are wholly the problem. It's just us. We're such a problem. We should all be ashamed of the carbon that we let out, of all the things we do, driving, it's getting a little out of hand. So I can't wait to do that episode. Let me know in the comments what you think about what Elon Musk had to say. If you think that he's on the right track with the way that he's thinking. And if you're on Twitter, are you seeing a difference since he's taken over? I'll be honest, I haven't. I haven't really seen a difference. I've been using Twitter on and off since 2010. I haven't really seen a difference. I've just seen more people posting more shows, more video content. I've seen that. But I'm not seeing less of a time wasteability on there, you know? 30 minutes on Twitter, you're like, God, I got to stop this. You know what I mean? Hasn't changed much since he took over. My opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that subscribe button. We got the best and most Rogan clips out of any clips channel you can possibly think of. Other than that, I am out.